Good morning and welcome to the Daily, where we take a few minutes each day to focus on God's Word so that we can find and follow Jesus in every area of our life. Today's devotional comes from Matthew 11, so let's go. And as we look at verse 7, it says, as John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began talking about him to the crowds. What kind of man did you go into the wilderness to see? Was he a weak reed swayed by every breath of wind? And then he says in verse 10, John is the man to whom the scriptures refer when they say, look, I am sending my messenger ahead of you, and he will prepare your way before you. I tell you the truth, of all who have ever lived, none is greater than John the Baptist, yet even the least person in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he is. And the key question and what I'd like to focus on today is that very first one that Jesus asked, and it is, what kind of man did you go out to see? And I believe that today, just as back then, we are also looking for someone to lead us to God. So, what kind of man are we looking for? What kind of man are we looking for to lead us to God? Because Jesus says that none were greater than John the Baptist, but even the least is greater than John. So today we look around us and we see people that are supposed to be our leaders, people that are supposed to be leading us in a right direction, a good direction, people that are supposed to be leading us toward God. So what should those people look like? Who should they be following so that they have the worth for us to follow after them? And there are a couple of thoughts that God brought to my mind when we look at this question that says, what kind of man did you go out to see? And the first thing I think of is, this man has to be a servant. Jesus talks about talking about himself in Matthew 20 and 28. I mean, just think about this for a minute. Jesus, the Son of God, the one who knew yesterday, today, and tomorrow, the one who could have at any time chose to just say, God, there's got to be a better way. Why do I have to die? But as a leader, Jesus said, you know what? Even I, the Son of Man, has come not to be served, but to serve. And as we all know, not only did he serve, but he also served to the point of where he died upon the cross. And so, first of all, a servant. Secondly, somebody with purpose. And I know when we think of the word purpose, the first thing that pops into our mind, Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, I have a purpose and a plan for you. Purpose. So, and it's a word that kind of gets overused sometime, but if we're looking for somebody who will lead us, somebody who will lead us to God, they've got to have a purpose. They've got to have a purpose to lead. And if we look at our original text, Matthew 11 in verse 10, it says, Jesus says that John came to lead the way to the one who was going to come to ultimately lead us. There are men and women today of God that were born to lead us to God. So not only a servant and purpose, but a person with ideals. Jesus was a man with ideals. He was courageous. He was honorable. He was willing to sacrifice, and there's not many people out there like that today. So when we're out there and we're looking, let's look for somebody who's a servant. Let's look for somebody who has purpose. Let's look for somebody who has the ideals of Jesus. And then let's do just like Jesus said. Let's follow. Merry Christmas, everybody.